Here's a quick tour of the starter pack data that comes with DarkLight 2.6. When you launch DarkLight, it will ask you for a workspace where your files and settings are stored. If this is the first time you've installed DarkLight on this machine, it will automatically suggest the 2.6 starter pack workspace that it installed. If you are upgrading, use the Browse button to go to the Workspace folder and choose 2.6 starter pack. When you select that, it will launch and make a connection to its database and then activate the system. The first time this workspace loads, it will take a few extra minutes as it loads in our sample data. The first thing you'll see is a welcome screen that contains some helpful tips, including a link to the system documentation, which is also available from the Help menu and integrated into the interface. When you're done reading the welcome screen, close the tab and you'll see a collection of windows. These windows, or views, can be moved around, and you can drag the dividers to change their shape. The view arrangements are saved into named sets called perspectives, and there are several pre-made ones in this workspace. By default, you'll start off in the review perspective, where you can analyze the data that comes in and is processed. Before I show you around, click the Ingest Data button to turn that on. This will make DarkLight connect to our sample data that simulates the daily network activity of a company. Depending on your operating system, you may need to give DarkLight permission to receive data through your firewall. The Pro Management perspective is where you configure the Programmable Reasoning Objects, or PROs, where you embed your logic to take action on the events that enter the system. This perspective also has collections of lists and objects that some of our filter pros take advantage of. In this demonstration, we have several scenarios to demonstrate how DarkLight can be used, all based on a fictional sample company called SecureCo. There are more details about each of these pros in our documentation, but let me at least tell you what these different groupings are looking for. This set takes in Apache weblog files and looks for things like downloader tools, user agent strings, and multiple connections in the company from an obscure domain. Many of the lists they use for comparisons are in the collection manager here. The IPS events set takes data like you might get from a FireEye intrusion prevention system, finds those that have an identified CVE, or common vulnerability and exposure, then compares that IP address with data from a system scan of machines that have been patched for known vulnerabilities. If a machine is found to have been exposed to a known vulnerability and that machine has not been patched for it, DarkLight will flag it and add information about the machine and account. The proxy log set is data you'd get from an internal web proxy. It's checking for restricted content types, obscure domain requests, and requests to known threat domains. We have a few Windows events this starter pack monitors. The 1102 happens when someone clears their security log, and the 4672 is about admin login permissions. The 4688 event is when a new process is launched, and we have several chains of pros that all fire from this one. The first filter at the top filters out any system-level accounts. And then there are pros that look for suspicious PowerShell usage, processes launched from odd locations, and a chain of pros to see if someone is using the built-in tools like ipconfig and ping in the same way on multiple machines, indicating potential lateral traversal activity. To peek inside any of these pros, right-click on one and choose Edit Pro. On the review perspective, notice that the working memory view now has a list of events that match up with the names of the pros we just looked at. The contextual memory was preloaded for you when the workspace was created, and it contains information about our fictional company and other data we use to add context to an event. When I select an event type, device attributable for example, I see events that were promoted through a pro chain and then attributed to a device and a user. When I choose a result, the details are shown in the results summary and results graph view. Both views show the same information, but in different presentations. The event that came in is blue and near the top of the results graph. In the graph, each color represents a new type of information that DarkLight added to this event. I can quickly see information about the event and the devices and accounts involved. This information is also displayed in a tabular format in the results summary view. By the way, several of the perspectives have the documentation page for that section in a sidebar on the right. If you'd like to make a little more room, you could minimize this view, and it'll be available as an icon on the edge of your window. You can restore it whenever you need to. These icons add more detail to the graph. For example, when I click the Expand Nodes button, I see all of the properties and connections for each of the objects in the graph. The black nodes show overlapping data. The Circle I button adds a section at the bottom of the summary that shows the path this event took through the system. So there's the high-level tour of the demo workspace. If you have questions about DarkLight, please get in touch.